This is Phantom Electric Ghost, and we're live on the air with Ben Barbic. And you're author of Rise and Climb. You're a musician on Rebel Sound Records, and you're the author of Rise and Climb, which is on Simon and Schuster. So I wanted your memoir goes through like the time you climbed from a wildfire and an earthquake 4 years later and destroyed your childhood home. So it's going to talk about writing music, your physical training, your creative work, and your discipline takes the same muscle. So that's giving people a little like
no, that's a good summary right there. I love
the
it.
elevator pitch for who you are. But the other thing we do before we get to the heart of your story, we always ask a couple of questions. What motivates you, and why do you do what you do?
Well, music has always been my safety. You know, the place that I go to get stability in life. So from that early age, music was where I went. And it was the world I could go inside, and no matter what was happening outside the world, that was my place. So it very early in life became this thing that I loved doing, but also gave me this sense of peace and this other world that you can go to. And so from that, it was basically I got hooked. And so, you know, just never stopping music creation was what I was all about. Hungry for it, man. Hungry for sound engineering, hungry for getting on the mic, hungry for anything, you know, music related is what I'm about.
I think that's awesome because I mean I'm 57. I've been playing synthesizers and keyboards and wind instruments since I was like 14.
Yeah.
And you know, I do it because I love it. I put a lot of stuff out.
Yeah.
But it's like I do it because I love it, not because I'm trying to be like the biggest guy in the world. But it's like I just have a passion for music, and I like to work with people who have the same passion. And I think it's like what I find. I talk to a lot of creative people, like writers, film directors, artists, actors, you know, whatever, even entrepreneurs. And what I find is like people have that spirit within themselves, like they want to tell their story.
That's right.
They have a vision, and you know they just don't want to go and you know play the oldies in some like club every night, somebody else's song. They want to play their own song.
Man, that's where it comes from, and that's where it comes from. You know, in my music too, it's like I got something I need to get out. You know, like there's something inside me musically I got to get out. And so if the audience is one, or if it's an empty room, I'm still going to do it. If the audience is 10,000, the audience. I love the connection with the audience, but at its core, it's something that's an internal journey for me. You know, so it's not to be cool. It's not to be, you know, any of these things. It's really, it's from an internal perspective. I'm sure it's the same for you, you know, and it's like, there's no end date to it, you know, like there's no age or place where it's like, oh man, I'm going to stop doing that. Like, every stage has had, you know, another thing to dive into, you know, and we're at a unique time now in music evolution, but you know, every stage. And so I've enjoyed every single one of them, from the first time you get a mic to the first time you get, like for me, it was Pro Tools, first Pro Tools rig, first 8-track, you know, it all has this special feeling on the journey, you know?
Yeah. Cause I'm a big guy. I mean, when I started, you know, back in, I'm a child of the 70s. So I'm like 79, you know, 78. I got like a Casio.
Right.
And then it's like, and I was a wind instrument guy. And then suddenly I was watching MTV and seeing all these new wave bands. You seeing like Joy Division and The Cure. And I'm like, oh, what can I do? I finally got like a Roland. I found an old like Juno that nobody cared about.
Yeah.
And then I started diving into like, what can you do with these synths?
Yeah.
Right. And I was big into synths and drum machines, and I had bands that I would just play keyboards for, but I got really deep into what a synthesizer. I could write the whole damn song.
Right.
I could do everything by myself.
Yeah.
And I've been in bands, but I kind of I'm a songwriter. So like when you're a songwriter, like if you got the idea and you got the DAW, or you've got like a multi-track, I had Tascams and Fostex, like, you know, 4 tracks, 8 tracks back in the day. And I would just say, hey, if I got the ideas, I'm just going to put them down. I can't wait for the drummer to show up. I can't wait for the bass players. If they don't want to show up because they had a fight with their girlfriend. It's like, no, I'm still going to write the song.
Man, I connected 100% because it's like, once you take away the limitations to it, you have a freedom, you know, like I love making music with other people, but if I'm by myself cooking up the tune, I love that as well, because there's no limit to it. There's no stop, you know? And so
you don't have to stop.
I went to stop. When I went to sound engineering school for a while, because I just wanted to learn how to engineer music the right way, you know? Like I was like, man, I crave how to go about this process. How do you make the songs better and better? And so, you know, that's just another piece of this journey of like, you know, for me, it was like I got a Casio that had these little MIDI cartridges back when I was a kid. And that was my first piece of like, okay, that's the first, you know, example of using MIDI and using, you know, the language of recording.
Crazy.
Yeah. And then it was like, I took 2 tape decks and like, okay, I'm going to play the beat back on this tape deck and I'm going to record.
Oh, you just using like old school tape, like beat boxes and stuff.
Right, man. Because I was like, I to me, it was like any way that I could get things recorded. I loved it, you know? And so that's what I'm saying. Like every part of the journey has the same, even today, man, where I queued up some new plugins that I got last week. It's like, it's the same joy, you know?
Yeah, I always get the joy of like, you know, I've got like, I'm a kind of synthesis. So I've got modulars, I got Moogs, I got Rolands, Yamahas, all kinds of stuff. And I just like to dive into like whether or not you're doing like a subtractive synth or doing an additive buccal synth. Like I can get real deep into that stuff. But it's like there's sound design within synthesizers.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's like West Coast, East Coast, subtractive, additive, you know, there's all kinds of, you know, granular. There's all these different techs, right? And then on top of like the AI, but I still kind of old school. I like because I can play keys. I like to put down my own melody because I can play the keys.
Right.
I understand people who can't play them. It's like fine, they do other things. But like if you can, it's so rewarding to actually take an idea in your head and get it down on a guitar or a bass or a keyboard or anything. It's like if you can actually do that. And I know some people have found that like you can have this alternative method of just using a DAW to get to the same place, or using an MPC to get to the same place. You know, I know back in the day.
For sure. And they're all, to me, they're all relevant. You know, like a good rhythm maker brings a rhythm, and sometimes they don't even know how to read music or something like that, right?
Oh,
like sometimes, but they make great work, or they're sample artists and they make great work. And so, you know, I also love that about collaboration with other producers, man, because like a lot of times I'll reach out to producers looking for the right fit, or they'll reach out to me, and then you know, I put the top on it with the vocals, and then I mix it and master it. And so, you know, I love that too, because it's like, okay, how does that person, you know, interpret what would work for me?
Oh yeah,
you know,
it's an adventure. It's an adventure. Every time it's like you get some guy, like I was working with some jazz guys, like the fusion guys, and they're like, you know, they're really old school, and they're like a Herbie Hancock type of thing. I said, and they got this mindset, you know, and then but he's like, if you show them like, oh, something on an MPC, they're like, just play it live, man.
I know.
They're kind of like that, but it's like if you can convince them, like I was playing with some modular stuff, and that's kind of like MPCs. Like you can just get this stuff to just create these weird things, right? Like the synth heads create these weird loops, the LFOs are running and running all this stuff, and they say, "What is that?" Well, you know, you could do something over that. 100%. And then when they realize, like, well, it's not traditional, but like, could you go with this? Yeah. Could you do something with it? Because if you can come from different places, just because you never heard it before doesn't mean it's not cool.
That's exactly right. Well, and I mean, that's some of the fun of it too. Like if I get stems on a rhythm, like sometimes I'll hear something, I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna need to really change this, but I hear something in this tone. Like this guitar had something in it, so I'm gonna need to lo-fi it. I'm gonna want to do some pans on it. I'm gonna, you know, whatever it may be, man. Sometimes it's sitting in there, and sometimes it'll be just like one phrasing in the whole song, and I'm like, no, man, that phrasing right there, we're gonna loop that phrase.
You do your stem separation, and you find that phrase, and then sometimes it's like you take something, and you just run it through a filter. You run it through like a CP3 mixer, you run it through like an old like Moog filter, or you run it through something like, you know, some old school stuff from like 74, or like a virtual recreation of something from 72 or 68 or 65 or 54, like because you're looking for a certain sound, like, oh, you want the Elvis sound. You want the Johnny Cash sound, or you want the Clash sound. So you look, it's like, how did they get that sound? And then you figure out like what's going to get you to that.
That's right. And that's the joy. I mean, look at us, man, excited about this. Like this is it, man. I mean, this is seeking out that sound or cracking the code of how they got it, or, you know, even as an engineer, like constantly trying to add in new things to kind of just take that mix to the next level. Like, man, how did the top level pros make that? How did they make their drum sound like that? you know,
Yeah, it's like how they mic. I was always looking into like rock bands, like Led Zepp, like Rolling Stones, The Who, and
yeah,
they really had the engineers.
right,
Like Eddie Kramer used to work with The Who. He used to mic the drums, and Keith
yeah,
Moon was a crazy drummer.
right,
Yeah,
right,
and he had to mic him a certain way because the guy's so dynamic.
yeah,
Same
that's
thing
right,
with like John Bonham from Zeppelin.
yeah,
Like you had to put the mics kind of far away
yeah,
because
yeah,
the guy's hitting so hard
right,
that if you put it close, like a jazz guy wants it super close,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it
Just
ain't
blow it
gonna
out.
cut it.
Yeah, you just blow it out. Yeah. So that's all that stuff. And man, look at that. I mean, this is all part of it. You know, it's like the fundamental seed then branches out, you know, into all these different ways, man. From the earliest, you know, the earliest experience with music and listen to the earliest tracks that kind of, you know, elevated me up or elevated you up. And then, you know, continuation of that where like, to me, it was like, I always wanted to be in the room, or I wanted to participate on the tunes that, you know, were really connected to me. Like it was like, I wanted to jump into the world, like into the studio, into the music, man, like that. And so that was,
that's a cool thing. I mean, because being on the board is super cool because like I'm a big like connoisseur of music. I listen to everything,
right,
from Sun Ra, you know, they're listening to like, I'll listen to like, Waylon Jennings.
yeah, right.
Like, I'll listen to like punk rock. I'll listen to classical Bach, Chopin, anything. I just like anything that's hit, that's cool.
Right.
And
Exactly.
what I like with producers,
Yeah.
is like you can take all your influences, right, and then you listen to some new kid comes in, right,
Yeah.
and you have all the influences, all the stuff, and then this kid comes in and they're like, they're showing you something you never heard before.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, how can am I just going to take my influences, try to guide them away from what they're doing, or actually make them better on what they're doing, like make their secret sauce better?
For sure, man. I like that because I think it's a balance on that, because, we don't ever want to be rigid, because then if we get rigid, we get stale, So like, I always like to say, even if someone just picked up a mic or just started with their instrument, like there could be something in that where they're coming at it a different angle, where it's like, I'm going to pay attention to what they're doing. Now I'm going to try and guide them with my experience, but I also, want to put a little bit of hesitation on just, no, this is the way you do it. This is the only way you do it, because that's where I think you can kind of lose track of musical progress, which to me is such an important aspect of making music, stay fresh.
I really think like the underground and like the bottom 500 and the stuff that's going on in clubs and stuff that's going on with mixtapes. And like, I'm always looking for, like, I've been interviewing bands since 2016. Right. There's like 1,400 episodes. I interviewed tons of bands or artists. And I'm always looking for the people that like aren't in the top 20. Right. Because the people who are coming from the underground, that's where all the stuff's happening. Like, to me, it's like that, where the people are doing things like, like the engineer would say, don't do that. And I would say, like, do that.
Yeah, do that. Yeah. Yeah. They don't have people telling them that, and, well, and also I think I don't want to speak on everybody at the top, but like, you're allowed to have much more freedom with less pressure, and I think that there's something exciting about that too. Like I do think back to when I first started getting on a microphone, and it was like, there was no blueprint. I hadn't done it. I had done 10,000 hours. So it was like, I was in hour one. So it was like, whatever I could grab, I was grabbing. Just
you got to learn.
You got to learn it, man. So that's a fun phase, where you don't have the blueprint to run off of. And what I constantly really try and do as an artist is not get too concrete in that thing.
Your rigidity. Yeah. Because I think there's a famous thing that Orson Welles said, because he's a great film director, right? Yeah, he was. And if you ever think about Citizen Kane, visually that movie had stuff that had never been done before.
Right.
And all these people asked him, it's like, oh, how'd you do that? And he basically said in an interview, like, I didn't know what you couldn't do with the camera. So I went and got a cameraman, and I said, let's do everything that we think we can do. And I wasn't so rigid. I didn't go to film school.
Yeah.
And I didn't go and say like, oh, that you can't do that shot.
Right.
You can't. So like, if you have people that never touch, sometimes it's good to take somebody from an instrument and put them on another instrument that they never even played.
Right. Right.
And
Good point.
actually see like a good example, like Pete Townsend from The Who,
Hmm.
his synthesizer work
Hmm.
is like incredible
Yeah.
because he's a guitar player and he
Yeah.
approaches the synth totally different than any piano player or keyboard player.
Right. Right, man.
And sometimes
Well,
if
I
you
think,
switch somebody to a different instrument, they approach it in a different way.
well, that's a great point. I mean, so, I originally started as a drummer, and so when I started transitioning into lyrics, it had the drum patterns to it. It
Mhm.
maintained the rhythmic flow of it because I love that. Like I like the
That's what you
hecticness.
know. That's what
Yeah,
you know.
it's what I know, it's what I love, and it's what I want to hear. So it's like it gravitated. So that's a great. Your point is well taken for me, man, because that is kind of how the progression continued. Was that moment where I'd always done lyrics and played around, but the moment that I was like given the mic for the band that I was with at the time is when it became this other thing, and I just directly got off the throne to the mic, and so that's
Yeah,
that's
the mic. The thing is, like, your voice is an instrument.
right.
There are a lot of times you talk to guys who are like play instruments. They're like, oh, the poo-poo singers, and it's like having a voice is a skill.
Yeah,
Whether you're like a hip hop singer or a rap singer or beat poet, spoken word, whatever, it's still it's an instrument,
for
and you
sure,
learn how to use it. And
for
when
sure.
you like the first hour versus your 10,050th hour,
Hmm. Hmm.
like you have learned a lot of things,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And you learned how to use it and what it means,
Hmm. Hmm.
how your inflection, like how you like the distance from the mic, how you like elongate things, how you
Yeah,
enunciate things, how you like, there's all these things that are like you could go into a whole dissertation
yeah,
on
right.
everything you can do with your voice.
That's right. 100%. 100%. Yeah, I mean, and it's kind of endless with every medium. That's what I really enjoy about it is it's endless. It's
Yeah,
endless how far where you want to take it or what you want to add to your toolbox in whatever craft you're working on. So yeah, man, that's a long story for that. That's my origin right there. That's
yeah.
you know
Well, I think it's cool because I mean you've got your multimedia. You got a book
yeah,
where you've done a memoir, but you're
yeah,
also on a record label.
yeah,
So like I think being a writer is all about being a musician because like when even if you're not singing,
yeah,
like jazz musicians, we tell stories
absolutely,
without even saying anything.
absolutely,
So it's like
yeah,
we're all about telling stories. So it's like
yeah.
being an author is not so different.
No, no, no. Armand's always telling stories, and so it was for writing, dude. It was like I was going somewhere for music, and I was in an airport at a layover, and I just started kind of writing my story how I got there, and that's how I started writing my book. I was like, dude, I got time. I'm gonna just start typing out. And so it went kind of from my phone to my laptop, and then turn around, and I kept doing it, and then it became this other medium that kind of fit the same way that music did, where I could, if the voice is tired or it's late at night and I don't want to make music, I can sit down and write and work on the
Hmm.
story and change it, make it better. Like, oh, I'm not telling the truth. I'm not diving into the truth here. I glazed over it. I did lazy writing on this and then pushing it and crafting it. So like you just mentioned, man, it's a very similar craft in the way that you approach songwriting or the way that people approach writing books, because it goes to the same place, and I
Yeah.
think it's transferable. I think a lot of times for musicians, and I would assume if an author is a musician in any way, that would help them with music as well.
Yeah, because I think it's just like in songwriting, like you have to get to the point in a smaller time frame.
Yeah,
Like a
exactly.
book can have a very large time frame. It can be
Ooh,
60,000 words, 200,000 words. Song is like maybe 5, 6 minutes,
yeah,
and that
yeah,
today it's probably like 3 minutes. I
right.
come from progressive era or jazz songs. They're
Yeah.
like 18, 20 minutes.
Ooh, that's a
Right.
long song.
But
Yeah,
like, but that, that's that format.
right.
But it still is like a short form. It's not a
Short form,
2 hour movie, right?
dude.
So even if
Yeah,
it's 18 minutes, it's still not long form. So you learn how to get to the point.
yeah. Well, exactly right. And I'm used to doing 2.5 to 3.5 minute songs, pumping them out as singles. Next, 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 next. Right. So you
Mhm.
just all right. No weak lines. That sounds great. I like the song. Drop it. Next song. With the book, it was grind through it for a year or two, get to a conclusion, test the waters on it, go back to it, rewrite, and get it better. And this thing took me 8 years to write the book, man,
Oh wow.
because because it, like, I had to just understand, well, first you got your first time writer, you know, and then if it was about my life, I got to be really honest. And so there's layers of honesty in writing a memoir where, like, damn, I don't want to go there. And then I'm like, well, no, I'm cheating the reader if I don't go there. Like, I got to go there.
Yeah, it's vulnerability. Yeah, like
yeah. So vulnerability got to be there. I gotta rewrite it. I gotta see what's what. I gotta check it with people that are gonna tell me honestly what needs to happen, you know. And so I was just, man, I was in that thing. I would wake up early and just a couple hours every morning, just sitting in the darkness, working on the book, just really finding the truth within the story. And like, you know, hey, like, why am I telling this story? Am I trying to flex who I knew or where I was, or is there something in the story that actually matters? And so, all right, throw that out. That doesn't matter. You know, what really matters is actually the vulnerability I faced, or that I was nervous meeting with that person, or I got rejected at that meeting that could have got me to major label. Like, you know, get into the things that are the real experience, you know?
Yeah, the real heart of it. Because I think people want to have that authentic. I mean, that's why they like songwriters.
Yeah.
Because songwriters tend to, you know, they really key in on their vulnerability.
Right.
I mean, you get some people who get a lot of bravado. Yeah. And they don't really talk about vulnerability, but then you get other people that are like, they actually tell you the truth.
Yeah, exactly.
And when you tell the truth, a lot of people find that very enamoring. They get really drawn in. And an author is like, you have to draw somebody into a book.
Yeah.
You have all these distractions today.
Yeah, I know.
You've got to get somebody to stay in that book so they don't put it down.
That's it. That's it. And like so for me, every chapter was a song, because I've been writing since I was 5. So every chapter was a song, you know, that I could talk about why I wrote the song, about what I wrote about, you know, dive into what's happening in life and what was going on in that. And then, you know, when I released the book, I released the audio book, and I was able to put my music through my life in it.
Oh, cool.
You know?
Yeah.
So like
media.
yeah. And then I'm going to put a soundtrack out in October where, like, I'm maximizing, you know, the music within it. And so, you know, that was a nice tie-in, because I think you're right. It's like, to hold someone's attention span, like, you got to earn it, you know. And if you got weak lines, or you got a weak chapter or something, then I feel I didn't earn it. And it's just like listening to an album. Like, you know, you want to make sure, you know, that you're putting stuff on there that you're not just saying, all right, let's just throw that one in. But like,
you don't want to. Well, the thing to me is, like, I love albums from a child in the 70s. You know, I used to listen to, like, everything through. But like some people, like, but it's kind of like this thing. The Beatles created the album format. Really, they kind of were the champions of it. And once Sgt. Pepper's came out, people realized, oh, albums aren't just for putting your greatest hits on. Because most albums were basically greatest hits, you know, up into the 50s and in the 40s. Like, albums were just like, they have a single and then they put all that crap on it, maybe a couple singles, but they weren't. And then they create greatest hits records, but nobody really had these really great albums.
Yeah.
So, like, you had, like, jazz guys like Davis, like, go and create these great jazz albums, and the whole thing, you had to listen to every song.
Yeah. They take you on the journey, man.
Kind of brought that back. And Dylan did too, like in the early 60s, like between Dylan and the Beatles.
Yeah.
And then the Motown bands, they just, like with the Funk Brothers, everything they did was great.
Yeah, that's I love that.
Everything they did is great. So with the whole album stuff, great.
Yeah, well, and then it's hard to duplicate that because that was the blueprint, and then you try and do. I mean, that's the challenge, but that's the beauty of an album, and that for me, man, is like, that's also what I'm you know, because I usually release singles, like doing the album here, tying it all together, bringing in some bigger artists to kind of help me frame this thing. And tie it all together to where it all makes sense, where I can have some acoustic, some reggae music, some hip hop music, but that's all me, right? That's all me and what I am. So it's just tying together the thread of truth in my music and doing it gracefully enough, if you will, that you could go on that journey, and it's not like, well, man, I was liking this, but now I'm over here on the journey, and that doesn't match. So
because the album has to have a feel, you know.
Exactly.
And that's why I was saying, like, the Sgt. Pepper's is not a concept record, but when you listen to that record, everything kind of flows and you stay in it. Most people who pick up Sgt. Pepper's, they will stay in that record.
Right.
Or they pick up, like, you know, any of the great hip hop records, like Kendrick Lamar, Butterfly. Like, people stay in that whole record. They don't skip around. Like, that's when you know you have an artist that really drew you in.
Yeah.
Can you stay in?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean, and that's, those are the original seeds that kind of that plant and inspire, man. To me, it was Naughty by Nature's self-titled, their debut album. That one on tape, I could just listen through the whole thing, man.
Whole thing,
I love the journey, dude. And so when you say that, that was one that just completely captured me, dude. And like to this day holds a special place.
Yeah, because remember, music triggers like memories.
Yeah.
When you have a favorite song, if you hear it, your brain kind of pulls in, and that's why like once an artist puts a song out in the world, the fans own it.
Yeah,
and every fan interprets that song from the way they fit it into their life.
That's
and
right.
when they hear it, they bring back like pictures, bring back scenes.
Yeah.
And so that's what you want your audience to kind of feel that way about what you've created, that it becomes part of their life.
Yeah, dude. And actually, I like your point here, because there's one thing on sometimes people will think I say something and I actually say something different, but I actually don't want to correct them, because it's like I like that they took out of that something that fit for them, because usually if they come up with something, it's like, oh man, I love that line, and then it's something that really fits for them, and I'm like, oh man, I don't really want to even change that, because
interrupt their opinion, because that's how they experience it.
It's like, oh, I don't even want to put the lyrics up for people, only because I love the self journey that sometimes people can have with the art,
A lot of times, like famous songs, people got the lyrics totally wrong.
Exactly.
Tons of Stones songs, tons of Beatles songs that people got the lyrics totally off. They make a Saturday Night Live joke about it, but it's true. Most people do not actually hear what the artist actually said.
Yeah. And I interpret it. And I like that. I mean, even like, the early influence of me, like the Nirvana tunes and stuff, like once I sat down with the lyrics, it became something different. Like
it's not the same as what you heard.
Yeah. And are they both good? I guess they're both good, but like, that interpretation of art, I struggle with that, because sometimes people will be like, Ben, can you put the lyrics up so I can sing along to it or read it? And I always do if people ask, but like part of me wants the experience to be independent,
Yeah, because it's kind of like I've always tried to tell people, like, because the voice is an instrument, sometimes like there was a famous band, Yes.
Oh yeah.
And the lead singer is kind of known for doing these very eclectic lyrics that when you try to analyze them, you really can't make sense of them.
Right.
But the point is, if you listen to how he sings it, he's treating his voice like it's an instrument. And the words are more like the notes that an instrument is playing. So it really doesn't matter. It actually is the ambience of the song. And the lyrics are, even if they're kind of weird, it's like, what does that really mean?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. See, I think, dude, I like you saying that, because that gives permission on that. Because this is something I think about a lot. Like tonality, if you're limited to the English language, your tonality is limited to a certain box, right? But when you remove that, you now have a bigger toolbox. And I agree with you on that. Like when it becomes just the sonics of it and the feel of it, I do think I actually think you just inspired me to give myself a little more permission on that, because I think there's really something to that. And if it sounds good and it feels good, then it's okay. It doesn't always have to be articulated as perfect.
Like in jazz, we scat,
Yeah, right.
And you do these vocalizations, it doesn't mean anything, right? But it's the mood.
Right.
And even then, you start playing with words, and they're like, what do those words really mean? And you start putting like different like patterns together, and it might just fit the actual mood. It fits the scene, but it doesn't mean exactly what you said.
Yeah.
And that's always been the poetic trick. Like artists always have some duality or levels to their lyrics, where they could have multiple meanings,
right? Or
they're trying to say something, get past the censor. So they put something in some kind of coded language,
right?
They put it in like like ethnic, like just a dialect. And if you don't understand it, like I was listening to some British music, I had no idea. But like the Kinks, like it's famous that the Kinks have very British specific stuff in their songs. And if you're not from England, you're not from that town, you don't know what Ray Davies is talking about at all.
Right.
You might get the vibe of the song, but you have no idea what he's talking about.
For sure. Yeah, that's great stuff.
But I think it's really cool because like it opens up. Like, I lived in Japan,
Mm-hmm.
and I used to listen to all these Japanese rock bands,
Mm-hmm.
and they're speaking in Japanese. But
Right.
I would pick up the vibe
Yeah.
of what they were doing. I was like, I eventually I learned how to understand what they were saying. But I just initially just heard the song. I like the riffs. I
Right.
like the chorus. I like the structure. I just liked the way it sounded. Like I didn't really care that I didn't know. The same thing if you listen to like Latino music or
Yeah.
African music or world
Right.
music, you can get into stuff and it's like, do you really need to know?
Yeah.
Or
No,
do
I
you
think
like
the answer is no.
the vibe?
Yeah. I think the answer is you just enjoy it for sure. Yeah, for sure.
So like when you write a song, one of the things I always ask like writers, like,
Mm-hmm.
are you like, does it come to you like a download from the universe, or do you
Mm-hmm.
like really craft it and plan, or is it like every song has its own birth and everyone's different?
I think if I overplan it, then I ultimately throw out what I overplanned, and I go back to that gut feeling of what's coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime I've overplanned it, it comes out a little overplanned, and I need a little bit more of the emotion of what I'm actually feeling to deliver. So, I always will have like a general idea, general concept for the music. And I'll go with that or whatever I'm feeling at the time, you know. And then I'll just kind of take that general concept and then I'll build it out from there. And
Mm-hmm.
I really don't like to write out the lyric to the whole song beforehand. I like to kind of do that on the fly, man, because
Yeah, I find
yeah,
that
yeah,
over
because
time.
when you're in it, you're like, okay, that line now worked. You know, now I'm gonna build off that because that was different than how I originally thought I'd flow on it, but it was way better. Because I think also, man, at least for me, and I would think most musicians, like, I gotta warm up into
Yeah.
the zone of being in the tune, you know. So if I'm writing on a park or something, like that's not me in the tune, forgetting all the stuff of the world and like being inside of it, right? So it's
Yeah,
like
you kind of got to focus on the
you
tune.
gotta tunnel vision it, narrow it down, push away all the responsibilities of life and get to what that thing is. And so that's the magic, I think, of studio work, or, you know, if I'm at my home studio or if
Yeah,
I'm at
yeah.
another studio. You
Then
know, it's like
what I love about having a home studio, because I've learned this over time, is like, when I was 17, I would like be writing the lyrics out, being very specific. I was at these rock bands and we're trying to write like Beatles stuff, the
right,
Stones type stuff.
right.
And we were writing very specific, very tight.
Mm-hmm.
And as I got older, I'm like, I got more into jazz, more
Yeah,
experimental music. I started going into like stream of consciousness.
yeah,
And
yeah,
just like I have a home studio, I just put my multi-track on, turn my mic on, sit at the piano, and just
yeah,
riff it.
yeah,
And then I go back and listen to what I did, and then I
yeah,
say, "Ooh, I could zoom in on that." And
yeah.
then I'll go back, and then even if it's on multi-track, I might just take the original and just overdub a lyric.
Right.
And I
Yeah,
find that sometimes that original stuff is so good
yeah.
that, third, fourth take, I can actually use it.
That, I think you just hit on what I was about to say. Third or fourth, like, so I'll run through the tune, one take, warm up, check it out. Then I'll do it again. And then somewhere in that, you'll find a sweet spot. You know, usually, like, for me, it's like in verse 2 or maybe even deeper, the bridge. And the bridge inspired it.
Mhm.
Now I found the voice. Now I found the cadence. Now I found the message. Now I go back and the original stuff sounds weak. And like I'm still searching, still searching. And then I put in that. And so then I just kind of build out of that. Because I'm sure you feel this too, man. Sometimes then I come up with something else that now makes that bridge piece I thought was great
Yeah, it doesn't work.
down here. And because now this thing's up here. So now the bridge piece is a weak. So I love that process, man, of like, all right.
Which one's which? Yeah, you keep on playing because the tools today, you can just dive in. I can cut and paste stuff. So I can do something live.
Mm-hmm.
And as I had like the bass line 2.4 minutes in,
Yeah.
this bass line, I should move it.
Right.
Or I should cut it and then sample it and then turn it around.
Yeah.
And so you can do so many tricks. Like I could actually have played something.
Yeah.
Then I could sample it, then turn it backwards, invert it, run it through some filters. And it's like, oh, I actually like that better.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
you have so many choices that sometimes you have too many choices. Then sometimes you have to like, oh, wait a minute. Like sometimes the big problem is you overlayer.
Yep.
Like you might have something like, 8 tracks, 4 tracks.
Right.
You put down 16/24.
Yeah.
Then you find out that it sounds better with like 4 or 6. And then you just pull it. Like Prince used to run into this.
Yeah.
Prince,
Yeah.
I'm a big Purple head.
Uh-huh.
I have tons of his outtakes and stuff.
Right.
He would go and write these songs with tons of layers.
Uh-huh.
By the time they came out, he dropped most of the layers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it would find that the really raw kind of demo-like version
Right.
actually was better than the fully produced version. But you can actually find the fully produced versions, and you're like, he actually made the right choice.
Yeah, well, dude, it's like and that's the search for it, right? You layer it and then you lose. For me, like, all right, now I got 5 background vocals and a harmony under it. It loses the soul of the original vocal because you don't even hear the nuances of it anymore, right? And so
Yeah.
strip it, like sometimes it works on hooks and things like that, but sometimes the magic's gone. You don't even realize the magic's gone because I kept plugging it, adding.
Like, yeah,
I'm 4 days away. 4 days ago it was good, and now I'm in this whole different world.
Yeah, like version 101
Yeah,
doesn't sound as powerful as version 4.
Right, exactly.
Like version 4, and it might not be perfect. This is the whole thing I always did, the perfection trap. That if you go back and listen to stuff from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and you actually listen to stuff that was done like on tape.
Right.
Like it was done on tape, it wasn't digital.
Right.
There's a lot of like cuts and stuff. There's a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
Like if you actually really listen, there's a lot of mistakes in classic records.
Right.
But those mistakes actually are like in painting, if you like put something on the canvas and it's like you made a decision, that's what it is.
Right. Right.
Sometimes that's okay. But I think sometimes today we like run into a problem like, you really need to fix that? Maybe you shouldn't.
No, probably not, man. Well, because it never bothered us. Like I never listened to an old record and I'm like, man, that's unacceptable. Like, like the mistakes, rarely do I think it takes away. I mean, other than like mixing mistakes where I'm like, oh man. Like
you can say with those, but there's some of the, just the actual songwriting mistakes.
I think it's great. I mean, that's, I'm actually putting together a live set right now where I'm going to take it out acoustic because I want to get back to, just me and a guitar, man, because
that's cool.
Because, you strip it down like that and you get to the essence. I think it's just what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, if a song can hold like that or acapella, like this is the journey to find all the different variations. So one of the things, just because you talked on this, that's what I'm practicing right now, with the band, because it's like you bring it down to the simplicity. And I
think people want that today because the people, I think they see all this overproduced stuff.
Yeah, man.
All this like AI stuff, and it's so perfect.
I know.
And it's so perfect that it's like too perfect.
That's what inspired me to do it because, like, I don't use AI rhythms or anything. I always use producers. I don't use any AI for mixing and mastering or any of that. Right? I do it all in-house. I enjoy it. I'm not going to speak on it for other people. Everybody do what they want, but for me, I enjoy the process. But I also was just inspired, like, man, what about just a mic and a guitar?
Yeah,
like
unplugged. Yeah, like old MTV unplugged. I mean, I used to like seeing Nirvana or Pearl Jam do that.
Right. Yeah,
I'm a big fan of like Dylan. I mean, and Neil Young and Joni Mitchell.
And that's some of the best music around.
Those cats would go on a stage like 300,000 people just with their acoustic guitar.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's no props. There's nothing, no backing tracks, nothing's like you're just out there. You got to be honest. And I think that is maybe scary to people because you got a lot of confidence with all your backing tracks. You got confidence with all this like artifice.
Yeah.
But you get to the heart of music, like get raw, get real.
Yeah.
I think people like the moment of today kind of demands that.
I think so. And well, let's get back to being fresh. Like that's actually fresh because it's taking a new lane on the thing, like, yeah, it's scary to go from like, all right, whole background rhythm with background vocals, and you could just give it to the DJ and go, right? You got a lot of safety, but it's also super exciting. And there's nuances to it where you can play it more like an instrument because it moves with you, like it's there in movement with you, and you can play it at a different BPM and it mess up and play it faster or slower, or just the environment. Like, this is a chiller environment. We're going to turn this down a little bit. We're going to settle down the lyric. We're going to settle down the music.
Yeah. Cause it's kind of like what I love about, like I was listening to some guys in New Orleans Like listening to like, some bluegrass guys, some like soul Delta, Delta blues, jazz guys.
Right.
And they just like, they just follow their heart,
Yeah.
and they got like, 100,000 hours of playing, but when they go out there, it's like totally real.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you see the guy, you get some 70-year-old guy playing a pedal steel or playing like a guitar and there's like slides and stuff, and they just feel it. And you're like, that is like, and then the singers are like, they feel it.
Yeah.
Like to me, that's human. That's what the computer's never going to replace that.
I think that's it. I think that's it. I mean, and that's what dude, I'm excited about that, in this time frame. And one of the reasons why I wrote a book, Purpose Through Pain, is like, I'm excited to try and encourage people to find their lane within that too, because like we're talking about look at how lit up we are, man, talking about this. Like this is I could talk about music for 10 hours straight with passion, man.
Yeah, well, I think with all this other stuff in the world, all this noise.
Yeah.
There's a lot of noise. There's a lot of stuff people want you to pay attention to. It has no value at all.
Right.
It just makes you mad at your neighbor.
Yeah.
It makes you want to flip somebody off. Like what? Like, why don't you get back to like if you talk to a writer, a painter, a dancer, a filmmaker, an actor, a musician, they're high on what they do.
Yeah.
Right. They don't have to worry about anything else. It's like, yeah, man, they might have other worries, but the one thing is that very cathartic for them is their art.
Right.
And if people found out how much you can do, like the art therapy, people go to therapists. It's like you don't have to pay your therapist as much money if you start doing some art. No matter how good you think you are.
Yeah.
Actually start painting.
Right, man.
Or for doing photography. Find something.
Yeah.
And you'll find out you don't need all the pills.
Well, dude, I mean, that's what I read about in this book, man, is those exact topics. Is that stuff clouds it, it dulls it, but in the actuality, you could channel you happy, you could put that in the music or the art or the book. You angry, put it in the tune. Like when things are painful is when the art's really brewing to come out, man. And so
out,
that's how I've lived my life, and that's why I wrote a book about my life and the issues I've been through in life.
Rising climb,
because it's like no matter what happens, I'm gonna go home and make music. Like I'm gonna make music, man. I'm gonna continue with what I do. And so, if a guy flips me off on the freeway, it's like I'm not willing to go toe to toe over a flip off on a freeway. We just happen to be driving at the same time, and it's tense driving on the roadways, man. I'm gonna go home. I got music to make. I'm not dealing with this thing, like unless I'm seriously in a situation that I have to take care of. I'm going to just say, look, man, I got things I'm trying to do in life. I have no interest in anything other than the things. Nah, because it's hard enough, man. We don't need to manufacture it.
Trouble with the popo coming in.
Exactly, dude, exactly. And I talk about that too. And so it's like, when you can have that in your head and like, look, man, I'm going through some things, but I got these things I'm doing and I see growth in it. I see progress in my music or my writing or sport. If you like sport or lifting weights or
sport's the same thing. You can put the energy into that.
Same thing. And so it's like, put it into that. And if you got a game the next day or that night, or you're training for a marathon or whatever it is, dude, it's like that puts things in it where like, if you're in some trouble, if you're in some painful situations, you're not going to make bad decisions because you got things.
You got things to do. Like I'm a mountain biker. I live in New Hampshire. And like, if I get frustrated, I put it into the trail and like climb that hill, climb that mountain, and come down that creek bed.
Dude,
right? I can't worry about nothing when I'm coming down the creek bed.
Right. You're focused on it. No,
I'm focused on that.
Yeah.
So it gives you all that other crap. You just drop it. It's like, because if I keep on thinking about that, I'm going to wipe out. And the guy behind me is going to wipe out. So it's like, I better like pay attention.
You better pay attention, dude. And I mountain bike. I'm by the Santa Cruz Mountains here, and I lived in the Santa Cruz Mountains, which is a nice mountain range here in the Bay Area. And so I know exactly what you're talking about. And when you're on that bike, you're completely locked, tunnel vision on the thing. Just there's no room for error, and so you don't have time to drift. And that's
that's where people got to get the focus. Like focus on something that's cool.
Yeah,
that's not hurting anybody. It's gonna help you on like mountain biking. You're building yourself up.
That's it.
And you're building up a skill set. And he's like, you get proud of yourself. He's like, you came down the creek bed and you didn't wipe out,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You made it up the hill and you
Right.
still had enough energy to do another hill,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
So then you're like, well, that's positive because you're helping yourself.
Dude,
You know?
I mean, that's what I'm saying with the rise and climb too, man. Is like you rise up in the morning and you climb in your endeavors, and you give the perfect example in mountain biking, you know, or like I like to run trail and get up to that mountaintop and just look around, dude, and like, you know, just find that peace and find yourself on a journey of climbing that you enjoy, you know, like
Yeah.
it's not just an aggressive, difficult climb. It's enjoying like writing music every day or whatever it is, a couple times a week, you know? And so I'm passionate about that stuff. I think that, you know, with these different things, man, it's like that's what keeps me sane, you know, and has helped me in life. So like, I was like, as I kept writing the book, I just got to a point where I'm like, I think I got something to share with the world here. Let's see if they like it, you know? And first time I submitted it to an organization that evaluates books. They said it's good, but you got a lot of work to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went back for I think that was like 3 or 4 years after that, and I finally got it done. And I'm like, look, I think it's done now. So I submitted it to a literary agent. He's like, I could work with this. This is something I could work with. Cool. And so, you know, from that moment, it was like, wow, man, like I got this thing to that point, you know, and then I got the publishing deal on it. And what I really, you know, am proud of on the thing is like I didn't have a co-author or a ghostwriter or anything, man.
Well, that's cool. That's definitely cool.
Yeah,
so many people are doing these ghostwriters on everything, and I'm like,
I know. And
I'm like, or they have the AI write the whole thing.
Dude.
And I'm like, what's the point of a memoir?
Right.
If the chatbot did it.
Exactly. It's not. I mean, you can't even really like explain it then because like you don't, you know, the truth in the words when every word is your own and you wrote it like that, you know, is like it just felt right, man. And so that's how I went about it. And you know, I had the Skyhorse you know, executive editor help me with just some nuances, you know.
Oh yeah, editors are cool. I mean, that's a totally different thing. But like
different thing. Yeah.
I think the idea of you know, just when you put that in your own words and then when you go out like on a book tour, mm-hmm. and you actually go in front of people and you have talks,
right?
Like authors will go and have these talks like in libraries or coffee shops. Then you like, if it's your story, you can tell it, you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
And if you know all the details. Book, yeah. You actually did like, it's like a mini movie. Like if once did you do your own audio?
I did it, man. Yeah. I recorded it all. So I had done 1 or 2 in the past for different people. So I knew the process. But I mean, honestly, dude,
that's its own thing. That's its own.
Because you want every line authentic, right? And so you got to re-listen to it and be like, oh man, I kind of drifted into, you know, not really my voice there. And, mm-hmm. you know, you're trying to experience the emotions. Like I talk about some pretty heavy moments in my life, man. So like, you know, those require a certain presence that's kind of exhausting to be.
Yeah. So it takes a while. It's like I said, it's like building a movie. It's like an audio movie.
It is. So I'm very pleased with it. I think people are really enjoying the audio book, you know, like it's my own voice and my own words. And then obviously with the music that you can kind of see my progression.
You got the double, triple threat there.
Yeah, man. So, you know, it was a good experience for sure. Good experience for sure.
Well, I love seeing people who, like you're threading the needle. You got like your multimedia, you got the music, you got the soundtrack, you got the audio book, you got the book. So yeah, I think artists really start to find that there's a lot of places they are. I mean, I talk to like, you know, a singer and they're a painter, mm-hmm. right? You talk to a painter and they're a singer.
Right.
Yeah, right. People have multiple skills, but everybody wants to tag somebody as like one thing. A lot of people are like multi-threaded. They have a lot of things they do.
Yeah, I love that point. Actually, I love that idea of multidimensionality and to where we don't have to take the identity of any of it. It's just we're just who we are, you know, and we do all these things. And I think there's a great freedom in thinking like that. Like you just said, I mean, you're hitting points that I think of often, man, just to let you know, like that's something I really am passionate about what you just said, because it's like, then you don't really fit in a box of like, okay, this is Ben, the reggae artist. No. This is this whole thing. and it's just what it is, you know. And so
Yeah, you can be anything. Like I love people like Miles. I always talk about Miles when he went from like bebop to fusion, and the jazz purists all killed him. They said, "What are you doing? That's
Right.
not jazz."
Right.
But it's like if I'm the jazz goat,
Yeah.
I'm the goat for
Right.
bebop.
Right.
I can't do what I want.
Right.
It's like
You
who
earned it.
cares? Who
Yeah,
cares?
you earned it at that point.
I'm gonna do what I want.
Yeah, dude. It's well, and also like it also be ungenuine not to do what you want, right? Because if you stay in a lane and you're not really feeling at that moment, then like
Why should you stay there?
yeah,
People get killed. Like a lot of artists, like people want them to keep on doing what they did when they were 17.
Yeah.
They were when they were 21.
Right.
And now they're 45.
Right.
Right. And like I can't be where I was at 17. I could try to fake it.
Yeah.
And if you like me faking it, I guess I can make a lot of money faking it.
Yeah. You probably can. You probably can. One, like I think, you know, it's good to like I think there's this thing where like it's nice to give the fans the pieces that they want from your catalog, right? And at the same time, you got to evolve as an artist.
Go forward, yeah. You don't want to be just like that that kind of bar band that's just playing Tom Petty all night.
No, dude.
Like you don't want to be that. I mean, Tom Petty's cool, but you want to spend all your life doing that?
Like, I don't. I mean, I don't know, man. Like I think maybe some people do, but again, your example there is also an example I use. Is you know, I'm trying to just make music that's fresh and what I want to come out and what I want to give, and you know, grateful when people connect to it. And that's same with the book. It's like, this is me, man. So like, you know, that's the way that that I presented it, and you know, so far it's been I've enjoyed hearing people's feedback on it. You know,
that's cool. I just want to let people know we got the QR code up there, so if people take their phone, it's been up there. That will bring you right to residenclimb.com.
Yeah.
So the people, you know, the URL below is clickable once we're off the podcast and we've been live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Kick. But if you want to immediately jump to that website, and that's where people can get the book or find out everything about you.
Yeah, the book, a little bit of the backstory, the music links to the you know, Spotify and different places too. And then eventually it'll have the soundtrack and things like that on it as well. So,
cool.
Yeah, dude, that's the hub of it.
Well, we encourage people to do that. We've been using these QR codes because it allows immediate access in real time. So if somebody wants to like, oh, I want to know what that is, they can just take your phone, do that. And we encourage people to actually click on the QR links that we give people because, you know, we want people to support the artists that we talk to. Actually dive into what we've been talking about because everybody on the show has something to say, and we want you to dive into the story more because the QR codes I give you the depth of what we've been talking about. You can actually experience their work, so that we encourage you to do that. I want to thank you for being a guest on the Family Electric Ghost podcast.
Oh, thank you for having me. This is a great conversation.
Well, thank you. Well, I love talking to musicians and artists. That's the kind of my jam. But have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, you do the same. Take care.